Well, hey there, welcome to day 1139 of What You Up To Now. She, of course, being Sharon Horne-Ellstrom, that would be me. What am I doing as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business, from the entrepreneurial world offline to the online world? Long time ago, when I was running my businesses, I always wanted to add an online component. I always wanted to do something online. So after my divorce, I decided, and after we had all the assets separated and things and we're ready to move on, I decided I was old enough to not want to go back to the things I'd done in the past, but young enough that I just didn't want to throw in the towel and quit and retire. I did think about traveling for a year, but life happens and things happen, and that ended up being something that I let go by the wayside. And then COVID hit, so thank goodness I wasn't traveling around, because that probably wouldn't have worked out so well. Maybe I think a lot of people were still camping and traveling around. I know my kids, my daughter and her husband were out still traveling around in Colorado as he was becoming a journeyman lineman, which he has since done. And they've had a baby, so it's been a crazy year. They had a COVID baby. I call her a COVID baby because she was definitely conceived, right after the beginning of COVID. She just joined us about a month ago, a little over a month ago. So what am I thinking about today? I called it Spilt Milk. Why? Because I am actually thinking about spilled milk. Spilled milk, when we make mistakes, when something happens in our past, and then we don't just wipe it up and move on. We take and we carry that, spill, that setback, that challenge, that thing that upset us. Usually it's something that upset us that we carry with us forward into our present and our future. I don't know very many people, and there probably are some that are really good at this. And this is a trick, by the way, and a secret. If you can take the positive experiences you've had in the past and carry those with you into the present and the future, you create more of that in your life. But most of us, being human, we focus on the stuff we've screwed up on, and we think about getting fired that time and the boss, and we play that over and over in our head like 10,000 times. I don't know anybody that's ever done that. Do you? Of course, we've all done that. We've all had situations or conversations that didn't go the way we wanted, and then we replay them in our head. Or you walk away from a negative or a difficult interchange, and you think, oh, I should have said this, 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 and this, and you're just kicking yourself because you didn't say those witty things that come to you right after the situation happens, right? So I'm thinking about, mistakes and obstacles and challenges and things I've had in my past. And some of those, like every other human being, I realize with shocking, clarity, that I still hang on to some stuff that I need to just get rid of and let go of. So to help me do that, I was part of a challenge this week and decided to go forward with the person's offer. And for the next year, I'll be working with a coach and a group, and it sounds like a fun group that I'm going to like, to change some of the things that I've known I needed to change for a long time, but I just wasn't getting there on my own. I've been plugging away at them, but like everybody, no matter how much personal development we've done, no matter how much studying and learning and processing and actually applying of the information we've done, we all at certain times need a little extra advantage and push, and we want to go faster, right? I realize I'm not where I want to be. I want to go faster, and the way to do that is to get some coaching and help with that. Known that, had lots of coaches throughout my life, and during 2020 did not have one, was trying to be that support and that person for other people. And when I'm being one, I probably needed one the most, but I don't think so. All of us are different. So part of why me not thinking so is probably why I want one now for the next year. So for the next year, I'm working with a group, and I'm excited about that. I'm sure some of it will leak into the information and things that I share, because I love sharing cool things when I learn them. That's the whole point of documenting my journey. That's the whole point of this video is, all right, what's a cool thing that I learned, and how can I apply that and share it with other people so they can see if it fits for them. And if it fits for them, they put it on and they wear it. You make it your own. You wash it a couple of times and let it shrink to fit you perfectly. And then you use that tool or that skill or that idea and you make it your own. I've gotten to the point where I've heard and learned so many pieces of information from so many different experts and people and books and courses and, fields of study that it's all mushed into my head to the point that I love it when I can remember the actual original source I learned it from. But sometimes I'll hear something or read something or be exposed to it, And it will take me maybe multiple times before I actually get it. And it actually sinks in, and I have that aha epiphany moment that I say, oh, okay, I get that, or that clicks. And you know, then I'll think about it and I'll be like, okay, well, I heard that back in 1987. You mean I've spent all these years and I heard this in 1987 and I just never did it? Anybody got anything like that in their life? Yeah, we all do. And that's because we don't get the message. We don't hear the message. We won't see it. Even if it's right in front of our face, hundreds or thousands of times, thousands of messages, we won't pick it up until it's the right time for us. And guess what? That's exactly how it should be. I shouldn't have figured out the thing in 19... Sorry about that. Alarms remind me to be me. So I wasn't ready in 1987 to learn that lesson and pick it up. I had to have, another 10 different variations and examples of that lesson show up in my life before I had the aha. Oh, you mean I don't have to keep setting myself up in this way with relationships? Or I don't have to keep thinking this about my health and my weight and my appearance? Light bulb moment. How many times have I heard that? Some of these things we've heard literally hundreds of thousands of times. They've been around us and in our environment all the time, yet we've got this blockade put up and we're not letting them in. If it doesn't match what I think or feel or how I identify or what I believe is right for me or about myself or my situation, I won't even see it. I might as well have these blinders on. These are very dark canceling eye patches, by the way. I might as well have these on because I'm not going to see it anyway. It could be literally an inch in front of my face and I positively would not see it. And so I'm excited to be part of that program and just from a different perspective. Even if I just get one thing, and I already had during the free challenge, you did a free challenge this week, and I didn't find it at all in 2020. Supposedly they've done it all of 2020, and I didn't see it once. It didn't cross my radar. And now all of a sudden, you know why? Because I would have said no. I wouldn't have been ready. But now in 2021, I am open to it. I'm ready. I'm like, oh, that sounds like a cool thing for me to explore. So I'm going to do that. So spilt milk actually comes from our idiom today. It's no use crying over spilled milk. Now, spilled and spilt can be used interchangeably in the English language, thankfully. And I've actually learned this as don't cry over spilled milk, more like a command from your mom or from your grandma to your granddaughter. Hey, don't cry over spilled milk. It's no big deal. We just wipe it up. We move on. We pour another glass of milk. We move the glass a little bit away from the edge or grandma's flailing arms when she's talking. And we don't worry about it, right? We just move on. So I love that expression and idiom because it reminds us not to live in the past, not to dwell on things that have already happened that we can't change, right? We can learn the lesson from those things, those mistakes, the setbacks, the obstacles, the failures, whatever you call it, the boo-boos, right? We can learn from those situations and take the lesson with us and take that into the present and into the future. But we don't want to take and play over and over and over again in our mind like a never-ending loop a particular situation. You know, if you've ever broken up with somebody, if you've ever had your heart broken, I might be guilty of this. You play that little, maybe it was a 5-minute experience, or maybe it was like a 30-second experience. You play that over and over and over again in your mind. And then you go back and you think of all of the things in your relationship and all the signs that you should have seen that it was doomed to fail in the first place. And then you set yourself up for failure in your next relationship because you're still focusing on the doom and gloom from the past relationship. We do that in every area and aspect of our life, and we do it all the time. It's human behavior. We learn by finding things in our past and in our current environment that make it easier for us to remember and learn things. So if we had an experience that it was very emotional, either positive or negatively charged, we will link up the feelings that we had at that moment of that experience, and we'll link up those two things. So we can be triggered in the future by a similar experience. We all have trigger words and trigger phrases that just immediately put us in a different feeling state than we might want to be in or not. You know, we have positive triggers and negative triggers, and those are something we'll talk about down the road as well. And we have talked about triggers before, because I am always looking, and when I consciously remember, for what triggers me, certain things that trigger me, and I know when they happen, and the sooner I can realize that's what's going on and I'm just running a process or a program that I'm just automatically used to doing. It's like when you start your computer or your phone and it automatically does a sweep of your entire system for viruses, virus scanning software. We do that in every new situation that we face. We do a quick scan of all of our past experiences and our current situation to decide if this is for us or not for us. And we do it, instantaneously, faster than any computer could ever do it. But we automatically do that. Our challenge, our 365-day challenge to do one thing every day that centers us, was about having two hands. Oh, I love this one. Two hands for a reason. And that, they have the saying, we all have two ears and one mouth for a reason, so that we listen more than we talk. Okay, whether you believe that or not, I think listening is an incredibly important skill. We learn when we listen, but we also learn when we talk, and when we share the things that we've learned, we come up with better ways of describing it, and we understand it at a deeper level when we explain it to someone else than when we just listen to things over and over and over again. Oh, as I grow older, you will discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself and one for helping others. So today we were talking about, well, how can I help myself? And that's why I'm talking about the course that the program that I signed up for a year, because I think it's a great thing to focus on in 2021. And it's in alignment with my overall annual challenge to do one thing every day that centers me. All of it is, I think it, like I said, it showed up at the right time. Last year was all about doing one fun thing every day and having more fun in our lives to deal with all of the chaos that was going on because of COVID-19. This year is all about, all right, that happened. Now really, if I haven't done anything about it yet, what the heck am I doing now moving forward? Because there's a lot of people that are in situations they just don't want to be in. Guess what? There's a lot of us that are doing great, and we still aren't where we want to be. Maybe that applies to you. It definitely applies to me. That's the appeal of getting to know what is important to me, what centers me, what works, what makes me tick. That's all I've got today. It is actually, wasn't going to say this, but it's my birthday. It's my 61st birthday. I turned 60 right as COVID was hitting last year. We were up at the cabin with my granddaughter and a couple of my sisters, and it was a great time. And we actually went to Costco in the morning because the information about the pandemic kind of came out the day before that night in the nightly news. And we're like, all right, we're not watching the nightly news. My sisters watch more news than I do, but when we're at the cabin, it's just on in the background. And so we heard about it, so we ran to Costco, got some toilet paper and stuff that we needed, and had a great birthday. And then this year, things are still kind of funky. It's a year later, things are a little bit, COVID's still impacting us. A lot of craziness is going on. And it's interesting because my son and I both decided in January that we were just going to turn it all off, all the noise. And I've tweaked and let a few things in, but for the most part, it's been a complete shutdown of the media, politics, the noise that's going on. And, we've got the George Floyd, the first policeman involved in that, the trial's coming up. And so I think they're picking jury now. So I think, we live right next to Minneapolis and St. Paul. And so I think there's going to be a lot of more tension and turmoil in the air. We just have to steel ourselves up from that. We can't let, especially things that we personally can't change or control, we have to decide, what are we going to let into our filter and what are we going to keep out? Coffee filters and coffee grounds, there's a filter for a reason. We want the good flavor to come through, but we don't want the grounds to come through. And I think the same thing is true in our lives. We want the good things to come into our life and the things that are for us, but the other stuff, there's so much of it. If we don't have ways to filter it and block it out, we'd all go bananas. So that's it. That's it for today. Have an absolutely amazing day. I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. If I can help you in any way, if you've got a question that's just nagging at you and you don't know who to ask, I might not know the answer, but I guarantee I've got a connection or a person or a resource or a thing that can help you know what you need to do to move forward. I don't want anyone to ever feel stuck. I think that's one of my worst feelings, is if I feel stuck and like I can't do anything or I can't move, or there's nothing that's possible for me, because I know that that's a lie. There's always millions of things that are possible. All right, well, have an absolutely amazing day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. Take care.